story this morning. An Indian-American woman who, along with her husband, had been the inspiration behind Shahrukh Khan's film Swades, was stopped and asked by police if she was in the U.S. illegally. An incident which comes amidst rising fears over President Donald Trump's immigration policies. Arvinda Pillalamarri, 47 years of age, was walking in a Bel Air neighbourhood on the morning of December 21st, a routine with her, when she said she was stopped by a Bel Air Police Department official. A report in the Baltimore Sun said Pillalamarri, who was born in India but moved with her parents to the U.S. when she was young, was asked by the police officer about what she was doing, and she replied that she was walking. The officer continued to ask several questions. When she asked why the officer was asking her so many questions, he replied because someone had called the police. Well, Foreign Affairs editor Geeta Mohan is joining us with further details. Geeta, an absolute shocker that this NRI had to face there in California.
Well, that's right. In a day and age in the United States of America, where suspicions against and racial profiling only has increased in the recent past, the Maryland police chief has come out and said that this certainly is not racial profiling. It could be an inconvenient question that was posed, but they are explaining what was done to, or how Pillalamarri was questioned despite being an American citizen, only because somebody called and because she hesitated, given that she was out on a walk and the cops had come asking her for an identification. She hesitated because it came as a surprise to her that cops would stop her and ask for an identification, which people normally don't carry when they're going out for walks. And it's the reason why she did not have it on her person as well. But the police chief, Charles Moore, over there said that asking for her nationality is insensitive but not racial profiling. They're explaining that, but it does come at a time when things for the Asians or colored community certainly is not looking good. And in that environment, for somebody who has been a part of the U.S.-India project on India's development, who has worked in America but contributed a lot when it comes to development in India, is an Indian American. She is an American citizen. To have been questioned in the manner in which she was questioned does come as a shocker. We do know, and we've heard her. I've heard her statement where she said that it did indeed come as a shock. Given that she was asked about her immigration status, almost asking whether, and directly asking whether she's an illegal immigrant. That's the fear now that many have in terms of what kind of questions or where they could be stopped and asked. This is only the most recent event that we're talking about. Just a couple of days ago, a woman in an airport was heckled because she was wearing a scarf on her head, saying that you are the kind of people who will not be allowed into the country any longer. And this psychosis will continue unless and until the U.S. administration really does something about it. But Trump's Muslim ban, Trump's ban on refugees is going to certainly spell out more such fears in coming times. This, even as a judge, has already come out and put a hold on that presidential executive order.
Absolutely, and of course, this woman and her husband were the inspiration also behind Shahrukh Khan's movie Swades, someone who, of course, has worked her way to success there. So an absolute shocker being reported. But, Geeta, this would just allay the fears more of the minority communities, the fears that they have about living in a time when Trump has taken over the administration with his new policies.
Absolutely. It's not just Pillalamarri who is now facing or has already faced it today, but also the fears amongst many others, including Google CEO Sundar Pichai, who has already recalled hundreds of his own workers, of his own colleagues who were outside of the country. They have been called back, given that if quite a few could be from various countries, those countries that have been banned by Trump. And in the interim, when this executive order is on hold, he wants everyone to return to the United States of America, else they would not be allowed to enter the country. Now, that's a huge huge development, given that many of the IT firms are going to suffer badly. They're either calling or recalling their people back into the United States of America, else they would not be allowed entry and if the hold on this executive order is lifted. And is the reason why we are seeing a lot of shuffling and movement in the IT industry, in the services sector. And that could impact not just their businesses within the United States of America, but also in the countries where they have businesses very badly, given that Sundar Pichai's colleagues and employees were in various countries in the middle of projects and have been called back.
Right. Well, Geeta, just stay with us. Brijesh Kalappa, spokesperson of the Congress Party, is joining us on NewsX this morning as well. Brijesh Kalappa, how do you react to this incident that you're hearing about?
No, I think the fact that Indians today have a special status the world over, and this has not happened newly, and this has happened since 1991, when liberalization came thanks to the efforts of Dr. Manmohan Singh and Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao. And ever since, Indians have been known throughout the world for their extraordinary work, and particularly in the field of information technology. And, since I hail from Bangalore, I know for a fact that several people have, gone to the United States, have worked there, and have done exceedingly well for themselves. Now, given this background and this scenario, to hear that Indians were either roughed up or were treated badly, or were treated not with the kind of respect that is due to Indians, is something which is deeply painful, and this is something which ought to be taken up by the Indian embassy and by the Indian government. It can't take this lying down, because the kind of respect and status that Indians have always traditionally enjoyed is something which we can't give up so easily, merely because there's a new regime. And I think the Indian government should be very agile in seeking a response for this, and to find out as to why this exactly happened, and to ensure that this doesn't repeat itself, because this is something which is a humiliation to all of us, and it should be dealt with very seriously.
Absolutely. So you feel, of course, the government in its dialogue with the United States of America, through, of course, diplomatic channels and higher up, must keep these aspects in mind as well. Of course, they need to talk about foreign policy and, other economic considerations, but they also should keep the interests of our Indian American community in mind, Brijesh Kalappa?
Yeah, certainly, because the Indian American community has contributed a lot to the growth of America, and the successive regimes have also included them in their governments and in decisions which government takes. So this is something which also ought to be kept in mind, and people of Indian origin ought to be treated with a little more respect. And this should not happen, and this this kind of treatment which is being meted out to Indian citizens, I think should immediately stop, and the government must take this up at the highest level. And in fact, I'm told that Trump spoke to Mr. Modi the other day, and I wish Mr. Modi would now make a call and express his strong feelings regarding such treatment meted out to Indians.
Fair enough. Thank you, Brijesh Kalappa, for joining us with your party's stand there on this story coming in this morning. Well, in fact, we have some breaking reactions coming in now on this story. Aravinda has reacted after being harassed by local cops, narrating the horror that is spreading like wildfire in the United States. Listen in.
I had just come out for a walk, so I didn't have my ID, and he said, "Why don't you have ID? Are you here illegally?" Social justice starts locally, and I'm really proud that Bel Air is rising to that challenge. I had just come out for a walk, so I didn't have my ID, and he said, "Why don't you have ID? Are you here illegally?" Social justice starts locally, and I'm really proud that Bel Air is rising to that challenge.
Well, Geeta Mohan, of course, is still live with us. Geeta, of course, we were listening into Arvinda Pillalamarri speaking out there, of course, to a local reporter, narrating her audio. But, to the soundbite of the Congress, Geeta, the Congress believes that this must be a priority area when we speak to the United States. Of course, while we will discuss foreign policy and other economic considerations, we also need to consider the fears and the interests of our Indian American community based in the United States.
Absolutely, absolutely, Uday. And she's not just spoken, and the comment that she made was immediately after she had been questioned, but she has also spoken to the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners about being stopped by police while walking. And it really goes to show the kind of fear under which we will see certain communities living, although they are American citizens, green card holders, or naturalized Americans now. And despite that, just because she was an Indian, just because she looked a certain way, there was a call of suspicious movement. The person came and questioned her and also asked her whether she is an illegal immigrant in an area, in a place where she's been living for years. That really goes to show that there is going to be, in the coming future, there are going to be certain problems that certain communities could face. And although the Maryland police chief continues to remain in denial on whether it was racial profiling or not, and said that she was hesitant and is the reason why she was questioned, that could very well have been the reason. But imagine somebody from your neighborhood calling up the cops on you every now and again.
Absolutely shocking indeed. Stay with us, Geeta. In fact, RP Singh of the BJP also joining us now on NewsX. RP Singh, what is your first reaction, sir, to this story we're reporting?
It's very sad that such incidents have started occurring in U.S. now, and especially with the democracy like U.S. And the sort of country U.S. if this is going to happen there, then probably this will send a bad message to worldwide people who look toward U.S. And I hope the local state government and the local police and the administration look into the matter and ensure that the proper inquiry happens into that, because there can be no discrimination because of certain race or certain creed there also. And this is expected from a good democracy and the largest democracy in the world.
Well, we just had the Congress representative on the show, Mr. RP Singh, and he feels that the government of India, when dealing with Donald Trump, must bring up these matters as well.
Obviously, all these matters are brought up. I mean, why does every matter which is related to Indian, who's anywhere in the world, our government take up that matter with various governments worldwide. That's quite known, and Sushma Swaraj and is quite active on all these issues. We all know that.
So you do believe that the interests of the Indian American communities and of course some of the fears that they have and these incidents will be part of the dialogue, Mr. RP Singh, between us and the United States? Of course, we will talk about foreign policy and other economic considerations, but will this also be part of the dialogue?
So any interest of India or Indian citizen abroad will be part, I can't say part of, but it will be taken care of by the Indian government. And then yes, our foreign affairs department is quite active on this. And then for any issue which has happened anywhere till now in the world, whether Indian citizens staying anywhere in the world, has been properly taken by the government of India.
Okay, and do you feel this is the reason that many minorities feared a presidency under Donald Trump, Mr. RP Singh, and this would, this incident would just allay their fears all the more.
I think it's a little too early to comment on this. Till the time we get a complete and full report on how all the things are erupted, it's a little too early to react on it. Generalizing it into that, but there's something like which is happening in this minority or other people from other countries. Let's wait for some more time. But as for this individual instance, I'm hopeful the Ministry of External Affairs will send a right message to the U.S. Department to look into the matter.
Fair enough. We leave it there, RP Singh. Thank you for joining us with the BJP stand there. Well, that, of course, was RP Singh conveying us the BJP stand. Geeta Mohan, of course, is still live with us. Geeta, you were hearing what the BJP representative was just telling us, saying that this will be part of the dialogue with the United States, and the MEA will, of course, intervene, looking at this matter and looking at this incident, keeping in mind the interests of our Indian American community in the United States. All right, we seem to have lost that connection there with Geeta Mohan, but this, of course, is the big story coming in. An Indian American woman, Arvinda Pillalamarri, has been questioned there, of course, and stopped and asked by police if she was in the United States illegally. An incident, of course, which comes amidst rising fears over President Donald Trump's immigration policies. Well, in other breaking news coming in now on this story, Hillary Clinton has spoken out on Donald Trump, saying, "I stand with the people gathered across the country tonight, defending our values and our Constitution. This is not who we are."
They were trying to figure out why there was some hesitation to provide identification. That's why they asked. That's why he asked if she was illegal. That's an education for me. That's helped me out to see that, hey, not only do I have to get.
Okay, so this, of course, is the breaking story coming in. Remember, this comes amidst rising fears over President Donald Trump's immigration policies, and you have had, of course, a lot of protests against the newly sworn-in president, and Hillary Clinton, of course, has also spoken out on these protests and on Donald Trump, saying that she stands with the people who are trying to defend the values of the United States Constitution. This is not who we are. Well, remember this even as we report this story about Arvinda Pillalamarri, who was walking in a Bel Air neighbourhood on the morning of December 21st, a routine with her when she said she was stopped by a police department officer there.
Civil rights in our community. I'm here in the belief that when it comes to good community-police relations with a strong civil rights foundation, we are all on the same side and that we can help each other and work together to improve that on an ongoing basis. I've come to public meetings to show solidarity for others, but I have to say it's not so easy to come and speak about my own experience. So before I do so, I would like to take a moment to appreciate the hard work that our police department and our entire town administration do, and request everyone here to join me in applauding their work, because they make their work. So, with that good faith, I'm going to briefly share something that happened to me recently and what I think that we need to do as a community. So one day, as I was taking my morning walk, I was stopped by the Bel Air Police and asked what I was doing. I replied that I was just walking. The officer asked where I lived. As I was only a short distance from my home, I pointed towards it. When he asked my name, I asked why I was being questioned, and he said that someone had called the police. Walking while brown, I asked. He said, no, nothing like that. Someone might have been concerned that I was lost. I asked for his card, which he gave me, and I reassured him that I was not lost. I also said, I respect that you are doing your duty, and we really appreciate the work the police department does. We hear about it at town meetings. I don't have a problem giving you my name, but I would like to know what my civil rights are in this situation. A supervisor arrived and asked me what was happening. I related what happened up to that point, reassured him that I was not lost, and asked if I was free to go. He said, no, because you are under criminal investigation. I was very surprised by this. I asked for his card. He said, after you show me your ID. As I had just come out for a walk, I had not carried my ID with me. Why don't you have ID, he asked. Are you here illegally? I again asked for his card. He said, after you give me your name. At this point, I gave my name and date of birth, and after they looked it up in their system, they allowed me to go. He did not give me his card, and I did not ask again. My family and I, with the support of some friends, has spoken about this incident with the Chief of Police, Charles Moore, and with our town administrator, Jesse Bain. To reiterate what I said up front, I'm sharing this incident here not to ask anyone to find fault or take sides, because we are all on the same side, and can use this as an opportunity to learn and improve. The responsibility to uphold civil rights is one that all of us share, and we need to do our part and also expect the police to do their part. Police are trained in dealing with people when they stop them on the street, but ordinary people are not necessarily trained in interacting with the police. I did not know when I was stopped whether I had the right to remain silent, whether I was legally detained, or what information I was required to provide. Asking for information about my civil rights or asking why I was being questioned should not be construed as not cooperating and should not be grounds for intensifying the questioning or escalating the situation. If the police asked for my name and I asked why I was being asked for my name, then I would hope that they would be able to answer the question without asking further questions as we did that day, such as asking to see my ID and asking, why don't you have ID, are you here illegally? There is no requirement to carry ID, and Chief Moore stated clearly that it is not the policy of the Bel Air Police to ask people about immigration status. We also asked whether a white person would have been asked, are you here illegally? And he was candid enough to acknowledge that they would not have. I understand that the police department is taking this issue seriously and plans to follow up with further training, as well as community meetings to educate citizens about their rights. When we spoke with Mr. Bain earlier, he shared with us that when he served as Harford County Sheriff, the department held a program called Citizens Academy, where citizens would learn about their rights and also have a chance to change places and face situations from the point of view of the police. These kinds of programs will help foster good community relations, and I would request everyone here to attend these programs whenever the police department offers them. I have also been in contact with the American Civil Liberties Union, and they are interested in conducting a Know Your Rights training, which will help people know what to do when interacting with the police. To quote my mother, all of us want to know what the police should do and what we should do so that the police can do their jobs and we can live in peace. Fortunately, what happened to me did not result in any physical harm or arrest, but it has had a chilling effect in that I think twice about taking a walk in my neighborhood. For the first time, my mother says, should I be worried if I should take a walk, if I wear my sari? To my surprise, my father mentioned that he sometimes wondered if someone might see him walking down the street and consider him suspicious. They've never felt these worries before and should not have to feel them today. Every one of us should feel free to walk in our neighborhoods or anywhere. When I privately shared this incident with some friends, they have commented that you have been in Bel Air forever. My brother, sister, and I went to Bel Air High School. My family has lived here for over 30 years. While interesting, these facts are actually irrelevant, because even if I just moved here from Alabama, or for that matter from Albania, I should be able to take a walk without worrying whether someone might think I look different and therefore suspicious. This brings me to the point of diversity, which, by the way, makes America great. We talked about being inclusive. Inclusivity is reciprocal. So today I would like to welcome you to the reality that I face as a person of color. Often people say, why can't we be colorblind? To be honest, much of the time my color or anyone else's color is not foremost on my mind. It was not on my mind when I was first stopped. I believed I was equal and would be treated that way, and therefore felt free to ask about my civil rights. I was being colorblind. Only when the supervisor asked, are you here illegally, did my sense of color and of being unequal come forth, and my interest in my civil rights take a back seat to getting out of the situation safely. Public safety does not need to come at the cost of civil rights. Because I experienced this situation and the way it escalated, and because when I shared this with friends and acquaintances, I saw that others were as concerned as I was, I thought it was important not only to speak privately or in separate meetings or in church, but to reclaim all of Bel Air and our county as a safe place. I would like to see our town meetings as a place for the town to come together and share our commitment to upholding our values. When something like this arises, especially when, fortunately, no one was harmed, it may seem easier to dismiss it. But I think that the effort we put in, starting today and continuing for the course, to talk about it and work on all of these issues.
Well, Foreign Affairs Editor Geeta Mohan is still with us on the phone line. Geeta, we're hearing, of course, much more in detail about what Arvinda Pillalamarri really went through when she went out for that walk and was stopped there by that police official.
Well, that's right, and her entire ordeal that she went through, and her explanation to what really happened clearly spelled out there that it is not just a simple case of a man coming and questioning because a lady had called on her, but just the fact that that the treatment that was meted out to her was far beyond just questioning somebody in the neighborhood, that she was detained, that they were not willing to divulge details. Despite her being a citizen, she was not carrying an identification because she had spelled it out very clearly that she was out on a walk and hence was not carrying identification. But to have gone through what she's gone through and to be saying that that one should be able to live in a country such as the United States of America freely and without any fear goes to show that there is a lot that the community, that the people from various races there will have to bear with, or will have to go through in coming times with the entire with the entire policies of the U.S. administration tilting towards certain race and tilting against certain races. And in that, there is going to be a lot of ramifications and repercussions. We're already seeing the beginning of that with Donald Trump's announcements and the kind of movement that has already happened within the IT and services sector in the United States of America, fearing that those who are working outside and could have been born in countries such as Iran, in countries such as Yemen, but are legitimate green card holders or citizens of the United States of America, might not be allowed entry. And that fear is something that is really going to grip the nation. Her statement very clear that it was not just a simple incident of questioning, but the fact that she was detained, the fact that the questioning was deeper, and that she was they actually spelled it out to her that she's being investigated on criminal grounds.
True, and that's of course what made her realize, as she said, that it was because of her color, it was because she looked different, as she says in that speech. Well, we leave it there, Geeta Mohan. Thanks very much indeed for joining us with all those details. A quick break on that note. Our special show, a pole yatra on Punjab, up next.